All right. So now we are recording.
Thank you.
So that was Jasmine. So let's go on to Lisette Ramirez. Good morning, Lisette. Can you go ahead and unmute yourself, please?
Good morning.
Good morning. Have you been able to create your account?
Not yet. I was gonna do that this week.
Okay. So what kind of ideas do you have about your project?
I'm still really deciding, but I know it's gonna, be the basics, a dish, a bowl with utensils and all that.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So just do that as soon as you can because the creative process is longer than you realize. And so the front end of these sorts of projects are going to be the most important time because you're going to need that time on the backside to tweak and get things properly done, especially with something like this, with new technology. You never know how long something's going to take. So this is a word of advice to everybody: is just to, on the front end, do as much as work as you can so that you'll have time to do the unknown things that are going to be there that you don't realize that are going to be there. So go ahead and get started and do that on the front end as soon as you can. All right, listen, thank you very, very much. And I'm going to move on to Nida Fatima. Good morning, Nida.
Hey, good morning.
How's it going?
Good.
Good. All right, so tell me about your project.
I'm still thinking about it, but I think about plate and spoon.
A plate and a spoon. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to put any food on it or put any other sort of decorations around it?
Maybe, but I'm still thinking about it.
Okay. All right. Have you been able to create your account yet?
No, I will
No.
do. I will do in
Okay.
this weekend.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sounds good. Thank you very much, Nita. I appreciate it. And the last person I have, well, actually, I'll give it to Eva and Ryan, but Yana Yermalovich. Yana? Good morning. All right. So tell me about your project, please.
I think about maybe create a ball, like a pokeball, something like that, or utilities like ball, fork, knife.
Yana, I think there's something off about your microphone. It sounds like you have like a vocoder effect on it. It sounds very electronic, but I think I heard the word Pokemon in there somewhere.
Pokeball.
A Pokeball? Pokeball.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I like that.
But I'm still thinking.
Okay, have you been able to create your account yet?
Yes, I did yesterday.
Okay, good. Yeah, go in and play. It's actually kind of fun to play in TinkerCAD, just to drag stuff around, move it around, join them, make a new shape. So yeah, as soon as you can, jump in and start messing around. So all right, thanks, Yana. I appreciate it. I'm going to move back to Eva. Eva, HYSA. Good morning. Are you there?
Yes. Morning. Yes, I'm here.
All right. Tell me about your project, please.
I haven't done the account yet, but I will do it this week. And I'm planning to make a pie, as is traditionally in my country.
Oh, wow.
A French pie or other kinds, and a pan and a spoon.
A pan and a spoon. All right. Yeah, those are quite a few things. So that sounds good. All right. So I hope that you can jump in the account and start playing around because I don't know if you've ever heard that there's many ways to skin a cat. The idea of there's so many different ways to do something.
Yeah.
I'd love to see all the different ways that different people are going to try to create a bowl or a fork or a spoon because it's a single sort of item. And if you make it from scratch, there's so many different ways that can be done. So I'm looking forward to if you make them from scratch, seeing how you put those together and make something that looks like a fork. So all right. So thank you very much, Eva. And is it Eva?
Yes, Eva.
All right, Eva. Thank you very much, Eva. I appreciate it. And the last person I have is Fian Lee. Fian, are you there?
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. So tell me about your project, please.
I would like use plate and chopstick in my
Plate and chopstick. Okay. All
Yes.
right. Have you been able to create your account yet?
yes.
Okay, wonderful. All right. So, like I said, I'm going to be a broken record about this, but go in there and play as much as you can in order to make the object as interesting looking as you possibly can. Because we're not going to be printing these, thank you, Fian, I appreciate it. You can go ahead and mute yourself again. Because we're not going to be printing these, you don't have to make considerations necessarily about how it's going to print. Sometimes there's whole other areas of overhangs and infill and minimum feature. A whole bunch of features about an object will determine how well it prints or not. But because we're going to leave these objects as digital artifacts, they're always going to stay in the virtual world. We can just focus on what it's going to look like. And so that's not a constraint that you have to be concerned with. So that's going to make these even more interesting. So that is, we've covered everyone. And I want to make sure that that I get what I want to cover for everybody. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right, so real quickly about TinkerCAD, I want to just go over the interface a little bit more. So here is the stuff that I was kind of showing you the other day. What I really want to make sure that I impress upon you is the tool path. I mean, not the tool path, but the tool palette here. The other day, I think I showed you just basic shapes. And so you remember how you could just bring in objects like this box or this sphere, and you could stretch them around, make them big, make them flat, whatever. So you can do basic shapes, but what I want you to know is that there are a lot of different kinds of shapes that are in here. And so if I go to, let's see, text to numbers, so I can bring in individual letters if I wanted. I'm going to look here. So there's a thing called printables. This is an interesting one called Smithsonian. They, from the Smithsonian Museum, hopefully you've heard of that. There are objects already uploaded into the software. So if I wanted to bring in this object here, pair of boots, and this says boots from the, I don't know, it's kind of cut off. I don't know where it's from. Or if I wanted to bring in this orchid, it's taking a moment to load. And you can see it's fully done. And it's really cool. I mean, you can. I should be using a different browser because it's not navigating the way I want. That's an orchid. This is, what am I looking at? Lincoln and a pair of hands. Here's a bust from Washington, whale fossil. So this is what I like to think about. This over here on the right hand side is like a palette, like an artist painter. They, how they use different kinds of brushes and different kinds of colors. These can be used as different sort of brush strokes, if you could think of it in those kinds of terms. If I go to, I'm going to go to all, and under shape generators, I think, let's go a little bit deep here. Like this circular array. If I brought this in and I wanted to make a cool pattern like on a clock or something like that, you can see that it brings something in here, but all these sliders I can adjust. So if I wanted to rather have the square, so you have this set of squares that are centered around this center point. But if I wanted it to be a circle, I can make it a circle. If I can even bring in a custom profile if I wanted. Right now I currently have 8, but I could slide this around and make it into many different things. And if I wanted to change the size of those things, I could do that. And if I wanted to change how far away they are from the center, I could change that as well. So this is just one. I mean, there's tons of these sorts of things that you can adjust. Let me slide that around so that you can get very precise shapes. And if I wanted to move that, let's say I wanted to turn that into a hole. I'll turn this one into a hole. And I'm going to slide this over here, make it super, super tall, and bring it over here. I'm going to take those two objects and join them. Take it a second. Now you can see that I have this object that's got a bunch of holes, patterned holes in it. Now, let's say that I was making a pencil holder, and I can, rather than doing individual one at a time that are kind of not very evenly spaced, I can find an object like this, bring it in, and I can very quickly make the shape that I want to do. Or if I wanted to imitate something that looks like a speaker grill, you know how the speakers have the little holes inside of it, I could do something like that. So just keep in mind that there are so many different kinds of options inside of this thing here that you can just play for a very, very long time. Let me adjust. So you can see this object here. And the sliders are just kind of fun to play with. You can see how I can move that around, make it thick or thin. Of course, the height of it, the outer radius, the inner radius. So a lot to play with, a lot of stuff to play with. So, and just a real quick recap on how to move stuff around. When you click on an object, just want to remind you of the white squares and the black squares and the little cone at the top and the little angles. The white squares, you can move two faces at once. When I grab this, you can see how I can move it in the X and then the Y as well. Or if I'm going to Control Z. If I hit the Shift button and grab it, it'll keep its aspect ratio. And then if I wanted to stretch it out, this was originally a bowl, so I can just stretch this out and turn it into the bowl that it was. And if I wanted to raise it up, there's a cone above everything. You can see I can just grab it by the cone, and you can see now it's raised in the air. All right, so real quickly, I'm going to go back to basic shapes. And I'm not sure that I said this to you guys, but I just want to give you a sense of some of the other options. So this one here, down here, is called a ring. So if I drag on ring, I'm just going to drop it over here. When you look at its little dialog box, you're going to see this graphic image. What this is a cross section of this ring. Let me drag it a little closer. This is a cross section of what that is. So if I drag this and brought it like that, you can see how it's changed the shape. If I can bring this, and I can take these handlebars and adjust the shape. You can see how it's sort of changed. And I'll do this one as well. Sort of changed. So just keep in mind that you have a lot of different options with, and I can drag it farther or closer away from the original object to increase the arc of that curve right there. So that is that. One other thing I wanted to show you super fast, if I could, is just how to bring a picture in. Let me make sure that I'm still on task here. Stop sharing for just 1 second. All right, so I see that there might be a couple of questions. Professor Lee, did you want to ask those, or can I just go ahead and do the chat and start looking at these questions?
Yes, we have one question about importing the picture.
Okay,
so,
that's perfect timing.
Yes, so such a bowl, plate, and chopsticks. So maybe they can use it as a reference, and then they can adapt it to their own for their own purposes, right?
All right, so if you there's two different kinds of pictures, I guess. One that you take yourself, and then one that you do a screenshot from the internet. If you're going to do a picture yourself, it's going to be need to be basically a black and white image, because TinkerCAD, when it creates a 3D object, it's going to create an extruded version of that object. So I'm going to go in and share my screen one more time. And so when I say extruded, I mean, when I bring in this here, I'm going to pretty much give it 0 height. and I look at it from the top. So let's say I took a picture of a circle here. A circle is just a 2D shape that has no height. It's not tall at all. It's just a 2D shape. What TinkerCAD will do is it will give it a height. So it basically extrudes. That just means to pull into 3D that shape. And so bringing in a picture of a bowl would make basically just a tall bowl. And I'll demonstrate that. There's also a neat other option here called Scribble. So I'm going to bring in Scribble here, and you can see. Let me bring this over here. If I draw a picture of a fork and a bowl and chopsticks, you can see here in the preview plane that it's extruding that. So I'm going to hit done and move this out of the way. So it just took those 2D images and it brought them in as 3D images here. So doing a bowl is not going to help you very much, because that's, I guess you could call that a bowl. If I wanted to lay it on its side, I can do it that way. Now my bowl is sitting on the ground, sort of thing. But I think you would want a 3-dimensional bowl. This one doesn't have any sort of depth inside of it. It's just a cross section of what a bowl looks like. So a picture of a bowl, bringing in a picture of something, be mindful that the shape is not going to necessarily turn out the way you want it, because it's just going to extrude a 2D image of whatever photograph you take. Okay. Now, if you wanted to do something that was kind of cute, so I can demonstrate how to bring in an image. Let's say that you're a pretty good artist and you wanted to draw something. I wrote this on a piece of paper here. I love my cat, and let's say that I wanted this to be inside of TinkerCAD. So I can just use my phone and I'll take a picture of it and save it to my computer. And now that I have that image right here, right? And all I will do is just go to that converting website and this gets in the way all the time, doesn't it? We're going to choose files and go to where it was. It's on my desktop.
And Professor Garza, I will
Yes.
move to the other workshop session. And if it is a ball, just the last question for me, do we need to import images? I think basic shapes should still work well if it is a simple ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So we don't really need to import anything, right?
You probably don't need to import anything if you want to just make a simple shape. Like, I think a bowl is probably a relatively simple shape. Like, I'm looking at this. If I were to make a bowl, I can bring in 2 spheres here, turn one of them into a hole, and then I can just raise one of them up just by skosh. Grab them. I'm not sure if I showed you this align tool here, right up here. When I click on the align, I select 2 items and I click on align. I can click that to align it in that direction, that to align it in that direction, and then I can join them. And now I have this shape that looks like a bowl. And if I wanted to make it kind of flat on the bottom, I could just make this super, super flat and make it smaller. And then grab those and align them like that, and then like that, and then join them again. And now I have a pretty quick bowl. So yeah, you can make pretty much any shape that you want inside of TinkerCAD if you just take a second to think about the basic shapes that would make it up. Because you can take almost any shape in TinkerCAD and then manipulate it to whatever it is that you need. Yeah, I mean, I might, if I were to make a fork, I might do this a few times. I might do that a few times. And to make the individual tines, then bring them together to the basic base part of a fork. So yeah, it's all doable. Just the part of your brain that you're going to have to exercise is thinking about the whole of what your goal is, and then breaking that into small chunks, and then doing that small piece. And then once you have that small piece, move on to the next small piece. And then once you have all the small pieces done and built, then you can put them together, and that it makes up your entire part. So breaking up a large problem into its small component parts is the best way to think about how to apply how to go about doing this assignment. All right, so this I'm going to finish this off just because I did start it. So I have this image here of my little sign, and I'm going to let's see. So I already converted it. Normally that download option would be there. Well, normally there's a download option. I don't know why it. Oh, yeah. There you go. Convert. I guess I didn't hit convert yet. I should have done that. This is just taking a second. Okay, so there's my image here. You can see that it's converting. It won't take very long. And now that it's done, I can hit download. And it's almost done. All right, now that it's done, I know where it is. I can go back into TinkerCAD. Where's my TinkerCAD? And go up here to import, choose my file, and I think it's in my downloads folder, I'm sure. That one there. TinkerCAD's workspace is limited to 1,000 meters cubed. And so please change the highlighted values to 1,000 meters or less. So I'm going to change this to 1,000. And it automatically adjusted the width as well to keep the aspect ratio. And so now I'm going to hit import. And you're going to kind of see what it, how it applied it. There was a preview window there. I thought that was kind of interesting. That's going to take just a second. Does anybody have any questions while this is currently importing? All right, we're going to just wait to let this do its thing until it eventually pops in. Yeah, some really amazing stuff out here. Like I said, these over here, the different shapes are like tool brushes. I mean, like paint brushes for an artist. I mean, there's already a house right here, already built. And if I wanted to, just change color, I can change the color if I wanted. Professor Lee, I saw that what was that food that you made? The not Kimbo, but that food that you had made yesterday. You had a picture of it. I made a I wanted to try my hand at making one too. So there's my version of that as well. All the different colors and the rice. What I wanted to do is I wanted to apply a texture, like some sort of a rough texture to the top to make it look a little bit more organic. And so that's why it sort of looks rough like that at the top. Yeah, let's see. Still, I guess there's a lot of surfaces and slices and whatnot to my part. That's why it's taking a little bit of time. Close that. Well, I hope that it imports, because it's just taking a little while and I don't want to just have dead space here. Oh, she's already gone. I didn't realize that she had left. I'm sorry. Kim Bob, thank you very much. So that is just what that is. She had sent to Bianca and myself her version of that, and I think that's. Do I have it in here somewhere? No, that's her version. It was kind of a cute little cartoon version of that, and I wanted to try to make one that looks a little bit more realistic. And it's just individual shapes that I made, and you can kind of see. They have these different rough textures on the top. And the way I achieved that was, I'm going to just go ahead and take this one and undo here, like unjoin. There is a a shape called mountain range. I'm going to rotate this back over. There, I'm going to make it not a hole. Make it a solid. So it's this thing that's just a mountain range, but I liked it because it has this rough sort of surface that I could turn into a hole and then make it more of a realistic looking surface for the food. So I was able to use a mountain range to make some food, just because you have those tools. Again, I don't think of this as necessarily a mountain range or this as a cylinder. They're more of, this is the shape of a part of the thing that I want to make, and so that's how I can apply that part of the shape. Well, I guess this is never really going to join. So basically what's going to happen is it's going to be it's going to be this. I'll go back to, and I probably could have just done this in the first place. I can take this scribble option, and it's just basically I heart. How do I zoom back out? CAD. And I'll hit done. So it is just basically that. So I could have done this the easy way and just done it with the scribble option rather than go through all these steps and get this done here. So that's pretty much all I wanted to show you. The biggest takeaway is search through this tool palette. There's so many different kinds of cool shapes that you can just get what you wanted straight up. So I don't think I have anything else. I'm going to go ahead and unshare and stop recording. I guess for the recording, I'll say goodbye. Bye.